And I guess that's me. Well, for everyone that was bribed to come in those doors, I thank you. I believe they were handing out chocolates to get you guys here. No, I'm joking. Thank you very much, everyone. So I just want to know whether you can hear me clearly. Is there an echo? Am I too loud? Are we good? We're good. So, yes, Nicci Scott, and I come from the logistics transport environment, having spent 25 years in transport. It runs through me. I can't think of anything else. I sat in a presentation this morning listening to Gary Marshall and the crew talking about logistics, and I was getting itchy. I was like, I'm in training now, and all I want to do is get back into logistics. I think once it's in your blood, that's all you want to do. So maybe one day I'll serve on a board and add some value, but it is just something, and I think anyone sitting in this room can appreciate the incredible opportunity we have to be in this industry and to impact at every level of society and community, and of course the economy. So I stand here today in a very different position, having run a transport company, and I'll go into that now, for 23 years. I sold out in 2018 to a JSE listed organization, finding myself very ill with cancer, which I'm still struggling with, and I couldn't keep up with the pace, and I needed to find something else, and I focused all my attention into training and started the Commercial Transport Academy. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about that, but before I do, and about this project that we're running. In the middle of COVID, while everyone was stressing, USAID reached out to me and said, Nicci, if you had $2 million, what would you do with it? And I said, well, I would focus on women in the transport sector, based on my experience, based on my understanding, and the gaps in the industry. And they said, well, put a project together. And I spent 2020 working on a project that would develop 915 women across 3 areas of the sector. Female entrepreneurs, which I believe are in short supply. Female entrepreneurs, according to MasterCard 2019 study, only make up around 8 to 9% of the total supply chain. And if they're in the micro environment, it's even less. Female professionals, one of the biggest challenges that women face is having the courage to speak their mind in the boardroom. And it's so sad because it's just our voice at the end of the day. So giving female professionals the opportunity to engage in their organizations through a leadership program, through a diploma. It's an 8-month internationally accredited diploma that these ladies go on. And during that time, they have a mentor and they are developed on a personal level, at a business level, and they learn all the concepts and strategies of the transport sector. It is specifically for supply chain. And then finally, all the ladies in the yellow sitting at the back is my absolute pet favorite, Iron Woman. Iron Woman is the program that develops female commercial truck bus drivers and couriers. Now, if you go have a look at Iron Woman, Google it, you will see a whole lot of posts. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you will see a whole lot of information, or follow us, the Commercial Transport Academy, you will see what's going on. This project started last year and in Johannesburg, and then I moved to Cape Town in August, and I'm so grateful to be here until this weekend when the fires were 800 meters from my front door in Somerset West. I tell you, that was something to behold. I have 12 dogs. You know, I was thinking about an exit strategy for hours, how I was going to get 12 dogs into the car and out of the property. And then today we're flooding. The R44 is flooding. But I guess we needed the rain to get rid of the fire. But the thing is that there's nothing holding the water back, so it is just gushing down those mountains. All said and done, I'm here. And I'm really grateful. And I want to say thank you to all of you for coming in. Thank you to SAPICS, Jennifer, for letting me be here today. And thank you for my ladies. Iron Woman 2, this is cohort 2 of 20 women, came up with a song to celebrate Iron Woman. And I'm going to invite them to the stage now to sing for you, because my hope is, if we can't Get them jobs as truck drivers. They're going to make a bloody good choir. Come stay with me. Come take a seat on the edge. Stunning here, absolutely stunning. So, as a little girl, grew up in Port Shepstone, and I mean, it was a small town, one English school, one English high school, and I wasn't allowed to go on to university, despite the fact I did very well at school. And at the age of 17, I matriculated and bought, by means of paying it off, a franchise to develop women. Well, not women, girls, teenagers with poise, speaking, walking, all the things around what girls should know in their matric year, how to go for an interview. And I did that for a year. And during that time, I then started a home industry. And I was waking up early mornings and selling everything possible to earn an income because I'd made the first crucial mistake of a young person. I'd bought a car. And I had to somehow fund that. And yes, those were the days when the exchange rate was still 3-1, a long time ago. Anyway, so I realized that my goal growing up, and I don't even know if you guys would know what this is, but I had wanted to be a window dresser on Fifth Avenue. So those are the people that dress the windows of all the shops. And I was not sure how I was going to get from Port Shepstone, if you blink, you've gone past it, to the streets of New York. And an opportunity arose to be an au pair. And I sold my 2 businesses, bought a ticket, and off I went. I was totally disowned by my family for many years. And you can obviously now understand there's a religious background behind there as to why I couldn't go into university in the first place. I lived in New York for 18 months, and it was the most incredible time to develop as a young woman during the apartheid time. And we didn't even have McDonald's then. So, seeing Bloomingdale's and seeing service delivery. I mean, I still will never forget how the butcher used to come and deliver the meat and come into the house and pack it into the deep freeze. And when I tell American people this, I say, well, I don't know where you live because our butcher doesn't deliver meat like that. But he did. You would throw your dirty clothing on the patio, they all have those porch or what they call it, a mud room. And they would come and pick it up and take it and bring it back all hung up. And it was my exposure to service delivery. It's what, for the first time, I could measure what I'd grown up with versus what the world could deliver. And I came back to South Africa and started working for a labor broker. And 4 months later, I went to Avis Rent-A-Car, who was my client, and said, I can do this better. I can take the entire logistics nightmare that you're currently dealing with the defleeting and refleeting of car rental vehicles, the insurance component, the managing of the drivers, and the petty cash, and I can manage the whole lot for you. They gave me a letter of intent and said, see what the banks will do with it. And Nedbank, with this big smile, gave me a 40,000 overdraft facility, 20 petrol cards, and said, on your way. Now, things were different. Those days, in 95, it was a lot easier, and I worked my heart out through the World Cup, setting a standard that was unknown. And I'm going to say this very carefully because at the time, there were about 4 or 5 big transporters, and they almost operated as cartels. They were the only transporters transporting vehicles on the carrier companies. Those contracts were so carefully designed that they would get both the passenger car market and the commercial vehicle. So if you got a contract, let's say Mercedes-Benz, you would get commercial and passenger. It wasn't separated. So up until the year 2000, I moved only passenger vehicles, the refleeting, the defleeting of the car rental company. In my first year, actually, I opened 5 branches, had 250 drivers working for me. Now I'm 21, just turning on 22. I wasn't even allowed to drive those vehicles myself. Because my insurance stipulated 25 as a minimum age to drive. And I learned the hardest lessons without a business acumen, but simply being able to compare. I had to learn every lesson. And then the other thing is I was female. And these group of businesses looked at me and thought, she's never going to survive. No way. And I went from car rental to the buybacks of McCarthy and the groups. Super group, and from there I went into cross-border deliveries, and by 2000 I got my first commercial contract with MAN Truck and Bus. And by that I mean moving MAN's vehicles from the assembly line to wherever they needed to go, to their dealerships, to the bodybuilders, to the truck manufacturers. That set where I am today in motion. But within 4 years, I think it was, I had 62% of the market share. And I did that by means of doing a 90-minute delivery and collection time frame. So that if a dealer phoned me or an OE phoned me, within 90 minutes of the telephone call where I had a branch, the driver would be at their door. And the delivery time was simply the time it took to get to that destination. The car carrier companies would take 3 to 4 days. Sometimes 7. So it was a massive difference. And I went on to move vehicles. I learned so much in that time. I moved for Mercedes-Benz, for Scania, for MAN, for Isuzu, Iveco, FAW, all of them. And each one of them had their own culture, and each one of them had their own norms of doing business. And we had to fit into all of that. By the time we got to about 2017, 2018, we had reached a point where we were down to a 4-hour lead time. So that had to be anywhere that we had to have a resource available to move the vehicle. Now, that is what started my focus on truck drivers, because today my driver drove an MAN, and tomorrow he picked up an Actros Euro 6. And tomorrow he picked up, the day after, a Tata 408, which is like Euro 3, Euro 4. He had to be able to drive every vehicle in the market, and those that have already left, that had been recalled already. So it took a super driver, and I was watching the quality of the drivers come in. Many of them had bought their licenses. Many of them could only drive one specific product. And so the Commercial Transport Academy was born to meet my requirements, which was the development of professional, highly qualified truck drivers. In 2016, I started my very first program with Suzu Motors to develop females, and I was way ahead of the curve. They were great. The industry didn't want them. I got every excuse, every stereotype you can think of. And I laugh. I still today, I'm like, women are not rabbits. We don't have babies every couple of weeks. We just don't. So that was like it was this keep coming up, Women have children. What are we going to do operationally? They're gone for 9 months. We can't, who's going to take their role? And I would just look at this. And we brought women into Siaduma, which was my company. And they were amazing. Absolutely amazing. And as I sold my company onto OneLogix, the agreement with them was that they would be a feeder for all my female drivers. And Cameron and the boys' eyes got this big. It's like they've never employed women, and now that's the deal breaker. And they agreed to it. So the division that bought me out started taking all my ladies. And if they were here today, they would tell you that they cannot believe the difference women have made in their business. Now, that shouldn't be amazing. That shouldn't be, thank you. That shouldn't be really? Wow, how? It just is. Why shouldn't women be good at the job? Why should it be any different? And it's just this mindset that there are a couple of challenges that need to be overcome, a couple of logistic issues like having a bathroom for men and for women and changing facilities. But beyond that, we're not looking, and I'm going to say it now, we are not looking to put women into long haul, other than possibly in the luxury bus industry. But we are not wanting to put women at risk on the long haul because there is no infrastructure to support them. Other than 2 truck stops that cater for women, there is nothing else. And those truck stops are on the N3. So the only way we're going to get women into the industry is on that short haul, last mile, DC to back of Pick and Pay, the back of Woolworths, wherever it is that we need to deliver to. The container industry, picking up from the farms and going to the harbour and delivering from the harbour out. So Iron Woman, I'm going to start there because my ladies need to go back to Atlantis. When I arrived in Cape Town, I met with a UCT professor, and she said to me, Nicci, the women from Atlantis, Dunoon, Delft, Nyanga, Khayelitsha are some of the most ignored communities in terms of female development, and I'd like you to focus your attention there. So I said, cool, I didn't know the area, so I'm going to head there, because a lot of the other Mitchell's Plain, a lot of the other big communities get a lot of NGO funding, but these don't. And having been granted funding from USAID, we set about finding women from those communities. I arrived in Cape Town not well in August last year. And when I looked at my issues and I compared them to the women that were in my classroom, I was just overwhelmed and felt so blessed that these women every day taught me something new about resilience. Because I just never experienced that life. I'd never seen it firsthand, and the pain and the challenges that these women overcome. Now, the ladies that got their license and finished Iron Woman 1 in March this year have only just started getting their license cards. They have been waiting that long. That's the system. And it's very frustrating. But those 27 women will be available to the market very soon. I would like 2 of my ladies, and I'm going to ask for the mic, just to talk to us quickly about what it means to have an opportunity to be developed in an occupation that they never saw or thought of, bearing in mind that when you look out the window, there are no role models. There's no truck drivers. There's some bus drivers. But you're not finding many truck drivers. So, Nsepho, tell us.
Good day, everyone. My name is Nosipho Jonga. I'm from Atlantis, in a location, Vatsand. It's my pleasure to be here. I thank you, Nicci, for giving me this opportunity. We are coming from different areas. There's Atlantis, Kalbaskraal, Kaili, Chanyanga, Delft. Like, we are coming from different situations. But we are taking this opportunity to thank everyone that is here and everyone who have given us this opportunity to take ourselves from the rooms that we're staying in day and out, doing nothing, going up and down, dropping CVs, but there's no calls that are coming back due to COVID-19. But at last, something came up and that we're not expecting of, but still, we're waking up every day now, looking forward to be bus drivers, careers, to be truck drivers as well. But still, that's not all that we are getting from Iron Woman and commercial transport. We are getting soft skills.
Oh, she's so nervous.
I can't even breathe.
I can see. This is a big deal, guys. It really is.
We're getting a lot, like, to know ourselves better, to improve. From, like me, for now, standing in front of you all and talk to you guys. This is my first time. So there's a lot. Self-esteem, learning about soft skills, and a lot, like, things that we never have a chance to get them. And you know almost where we're coming from in locations. We're coming from health-wise, the environment, everything is so bad. Like, I mean, like, even the gangsterism, substance abuse, teenage pregnancy. One of those people that haven't walked through that road, but still, we're still surviving. So what we want in life, we want to go far. We want to travel the world. So if ever you guys can make it possible for us to cross this bridge and get to where we want to, we can be so happy and make sure that we are going through our goals that we are setting, because first day we came to the class, we're given papers to write down our goals. We didn't even understand what is a goal. We write. And at the end of the day, we understand, no, this is not a goal. It's an outcome of what you want. But through it all, I thank you so much, guys.
Thanks.
For getting this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chisla and I'm representing the Iron Woman, Cape Town. We are all from different demographic areas. We face similar challenges, like you mentioned. And coming to the CTA, we were all individuals, not knowing what's happening next. And we grew as a group, and we see each other as a whole. We are united. And we've learned so much, like she said, but most of all, teamwork. And to empower women, like the program says. Sorry guys, okay. So, like our song said, "Mvulukile masango," it means the doors are open. So we take this opportunity and we see it as the doors are open now for us, and we're gonna do this program with the best of our ability. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of role models. Only role models we knew were aunties, moms, grandmas, and all that. So we want to be the role models for our young ones in the community. We have children, most of us are single parents, so we're doing this for them, for the future. Thank you, everyone.
Jess, do you need to leave? Okay, you want to go? So let me tell you quickly, because I see I've only got 15 minutes, and I didn't know how I was going to fill the time. 15 minutes left. Iron Woman is a program that looks at the development of truck drivers, and not just women, it's also men, but it's a much smaller percentage of men, because my feeling is that the classroom needs to be integrated. We need men and women in the same classroom to have the conversations that are so desperately needed to understand one another when they get into the workplace. But there is a special focus on women, and what happens is we pay for them to get their commercial driver's license. We identify reputable training providers that have safe fleets that the ladies can obviously learn on. Once they've got there, and during the time that they're going for the 25 lessons, now the normal driving school for a truck driver is 15 lessons, and he has a truck driver's license. We won't do less than 25. And interestingly enough, Johannesburg, women pass 100% first time with 25 lessons. In Cape Town, most of my ladies are on their third attempt. Very different dynamics. And a lot of it's got to do with confidence. The way they've come from and the lives they've led, they just do not see it in themselves that they have the potential to do this. And it's soul-destroying to think that, that they did not see the value of just having a driver's license. Because the truth is, in any struggling family, the males would be more likely to get a driver's license than a woman, or the girls in the family. And that's just obvious because there's more opportunities for them. So designing this program specifically for women has been truly amazing for the communities. Once they've got their license, and during the process of getting their license, they do 13 soft skills. Now, we deliberately chose our partners, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but many people wanted to come on board, but we wanted organizations that would add value. And Hollard came on board, Hollard Trucking, Highway Heroes came on board and said, we can provide you with a trailer for the training. So in Johannesburg, I have a stunning refrigeration trailer. It's massive. So it's truck and trailer. And down in Cape Town, I have a flat deck with a 18-meter container, 12-meter container on it. And so the ladies are being developed in big vehicles. So horse and trailer, Volvo sponsored the horses. Highway Heroes, specifically the division Hollard Trucking went ahead and sponsored 10 computers for each branch and gave us access to their LMS. And that allows us to give the ladies computer skills, which some of them have never switched on a laptop. They don't even know how to navigate a mouse pad. Now, understanding that how technology is forcing change in the industry, that very basic step has given us the opportunity for women to start to experience handheld devices and technology and understand information in a different format. The soft skills cover everything from gender-based violence through to who am I? As a woman going into a very male-dominated space, how do I engage? I wish I could do a course for all those MDs of the vervoers to tell them that women with long, pretty fingernails and lipstick are not a threat. Because it's a hell of a challenge when they've been used to men to see vibrant women walk in the door, and they talk, they're loud. And it's like, this is such a different profile. But I absolutely love it. From the first day the ladies arrive, you see them very calm, and after they've got their first stipend of 4,500, their hair's braided, their lipstick's on, the nails are on, and you can just see the self-improvement start, the journey. So after they've done their soft skills, I take them through 4 technical skills, which is operator vehicle combination, operator rigid, health and safety in the workplace, low general freight, and then there's one elective depending on who the sponsor is. Down in Cape Town, one of our biggest sponsors is actually DDAT, Western Cape Government, and I'm not sure why they're not on there. They're not there. So we are very grateful to them because they've made this project possible. They've sponsored the first group of 27 women and have given us further funding to develop another 60 for Cape Town. So we've got technical skills, we've got soft skills, we've got a license. On top of that, we do personal development. Every day, the ladies have to walk 2 to 3 kilometers. So my property in Cape Town is up at the Ostrich Ranch on the N7. It's a beautiful farm, massive farm, and they have to walk the 3 kilometers every day before class starts, except obviously in weather like this. The idea is to start to get them moving, to start to get their head around the idea that they need to look after their bodies, they need to look after their figures, because statistically from the data that I have collected, women are picking up between 5 and 7 kgs once they become a truck driver. So we start to talk about that, healthy food choices. What does it mean to eat a packet of noodles? They should be disbarred, the horrible things. They should over having something more nutritious. Instead of having 3 wheat bixes for breakfast with 4 tablespoons of sugar, I watch it in the morning, maybe having 2 with a banana and only 1 spoon of sugar. And we start to create that awareness of all the choices and the behaviors that they have been living by. So health, mental health, really important to us as well. The number 1 condition that truck drivers face today is not hypertension and HIV, it's depression. And unfortunately, the men are not talking about it because they don't know how. Women will, women can. So understanding those signs, understanding the impact. So depression, the big one. Physical, sexual health, obviously there's been an issue. Just looking at, planning, family planning. How many children do we have now? Is that the end of it? Are we going to have another one? How, when, and how are we going to fund it? And that's the sort of conversation that comes up around that. So really a holistic program. There's nothing like it, guys. That develops an individual to that extent. There's learnerships, which are very technical. There's short skills, which is just getting your license, and we've pulled the whole lot together. So Hollard came on board and said, okay, we're going to give you the trailer, we're going to manage the cost of that, and we're going to give you access to our LMS and computer training. Volvo has given us 2 trucks, as I mentioned, and Iron Woman is now running in 5 countries across the world. Yeah. C-Track came along and said, we're on board, we're going to give you the top-of-the-range telematics so that your driver trainers can assess the training that your drivers are given. So this is all root cause analysis. Fortunately, we've had no accidents and big incidents. We've had a couple of mirrored sort of situations, but nothing serious. So we go back and we do training after training has been done, looking at telematics. Standard Bank is more positioned in our other projects, and I'll come back to that one, as is Commerce Edge. Afrit. So what I realized is that I was training up women on 2 very distinct trailers, but what if they went for a job interview and it was a side tipper? Or it was a PBS vehicle? What if they were given a rigid van body and they did not know how to now maneuver this solid structure? So we approached Afrit and said, give us access to your top 6 trailers that are sold in South Africa. And before anyone goes for a job interview, I fully understand where they're going, what the requirements are going to be, and they are taught on the Afrit trailers. And then One Logics. So in Johannesburg, once the ladies have completed the 4-month project, One Logics takes all of our drivers and puts them through the 13 brands of trucks that are sold in South Africa. Now, that basically equips these ladies to climb into any OE's vehicle and understand the dashboard, understand the gearbox, and understand the dynamics of that vehicle. That is, that's gold. Because so many training vehicles are just a hina. It's like one vehicle, that's all they're going to be exposed to. These ladies have it all. And I think that is what makes this program so special. Multiple trailers, multiple vehicles, but most of all, these ladies get to understand who they are. In Cape Town, I'm a bit more challenged because One Logics doesn't have a branch down here yet. So we've been able to approach the courier industry because one of the things I realized with Cape Town, which made it so different, was a hell of a learning for me not to think you can copy and paste a model anywhere in the country, was that not because I never had a One Logics, was because most of the women I was going to encounter in Cape Town don't have a driver's license. So the project in Cape Town is now 6 months long. And we take them up to a code 10. In a co-10 environment, they are entering the courier space. And this is really important for me because I need them to work in a space where they can develop an awareness of space, of the track, of the road infrastructure, the road signs, just rule of engagement once you're on the highways, different weather conditions. So once they've become couriers, they will then go into the 4 to 8 ton market. And from the 4 to 8 ton market, we will then look at extra heavy. So these ladies will progress. And for me, that's responsible training. But I'm here today to ask you, I just want to briefly say that Iron Woman, the other 2 programs, Run With It, which is the development of female entrepreneurs. We are developing 300 female entrepreneurs to be able to assist organizations in becoming part of their procurement pipeline. These women are on an 8-month mentorship program, and during that time, we look at gaps in their organization and gaps in their personal development, and then we line them up with mentors to close those gaps. So it's a stunning program, and we do workshops like Standard Bank comes in and they do a workshop on building a bankable business. What are the areas of your balance sheet you should be paying attention to in your income statement that you should be paying attention to, and where's the bank's focus? You've just got a contract. Do you lease? Do you subcontract? Do you buy? That is the fundamentals of what we are teaching these ladies. Some of them have bakkies, some of them have trucks. Some of them went down the N12 in Johannesburg and bought themselves a second-hand truck and an old trailer, and they now think they can get into business. And we're having to reshape those ladies' thoughts and ideas around sustainability. My other company is actually a certified body for RTMS. I don't know if anyone in the room knows what RTMS is, but it's the Road Transport Management System. There's only 2 CBs in South Africa. I've only just become accredited because my goal was to take all of our transport ladies through RTMS so that they could put the foundations in place to build sustainable businesses which for me is critical. Yes, please speak to us if you're looking for transporters and owner-drivers. The last little project that I'd like to tell you about is a project we're doing with Lafarge down in KZN and with Volvo, where we are developing 15 women from the community to become Iron Woman truck drivers. 10 of them will be selected to get their own truck with either a mixer body or a rear tipper, and they'll be working in the cement or the aggregate space. And these women will be mentored by the CTA for the next 5 years to build a sustainable business and not to take that first paycheck and to spend it incorrectly, or to go through the pitfalls that so many have gone through and so many organizations have looked back on and said this wasn't the best move. So there will be many more of those coming forward. And I think that developing owner-drivers and micro-businesses will always be a passion. And what I'd like to see is the entrepreneurs of Iron Woman go into entrepreneurship with our program. So if I could ask everyone in the room, if you know someone that could impact on this program by opening their business just to allow us to place 2 or 3 women in your organization, please reach out. Everyone said this is the most amazing program, but when it actually comes to taking a decision, I'm getting stonewalled, and I don't understand why. The data coming from Unitrans has been unbelievable because I've placed 15 women with them already. In terms of speed violations, in terms of fuel consumption, every area is like 72% less coachable incidences than male counterparts with the same amount of driving experience. Guys, I did my master's in 2019 on the underrepresentation of women in the transport sector. I spent 2 years understanding how the sector is driven and how these decisions are made. And my studies led me to one thing, and I'm going to close off by saying, is that men and women are equal in all space. But we just sometimes need to be empowered just a little bit more to be able to take our place. Whether it's culture that holds us back, or organizational culture, or mindset, stereotype, and unconscious bias, these are big words, but they all impact, especially when it comes to the recruitment process. They're hidden. And that's why I had such a cheeky title. that women would have to gate crash because invitations are few and far between. Thank you for your time.